Hello. Hello, replay people. Just waiting for my audience to come on. And I was thinking I wanted to talk about who do you love? As in, do you love yourself? Hi, Bo. Hi, Darla. Good to see you guys. So, a lot to talk about. I have been super busy. Yesterday, my friends had this amazing derby party. I swear there were like 200 people in their house. It was crazy. Good to see you too. It was a huge party, and we prepared for it for 2 days before it happened. So it was a good thing that I was here. My horse lost. I lost $4. See, I stink at gambling. And $4, like, it's sad. Who cares? Money isn't real, right? I don't know. I hate gambling. I hate losing money, and I feel like you guys don't even know how hard I work for $4. Hi, Gretchen. So I don't know. I didn't count how many people there were. I just know that there were a lot of people in the house, and it was like sometimes it was hard to walk around. But I was actually hostessing this party. In essence, I was taking all of the food. Everybody brought hors d'oeuvres or desserts, so I was in charge of taking the food that everybody brought and making sure that it went to the right place. So that was fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah. $4 is a lot when you work hard to make it. Sometimes like on Facebook, if I make $4 a day on Facebook, I am wow, like that's a lot. Probably means I got a bonus or something. I rarely even make $1 a day on Facebook now. It's it's just crazy. It's crazy what I just cannot attribute great value to money anymore. Or I think I never did. I think that's how I can keep working for such low pay because money doesn't really mean anything to me, but I know I have to pay bills and all that stuff, and I do, and I don't ever have any extra money, but I always seem to have just enough. So it's good. And YouTube is doing better because of you guys, not because of any algorithms or anything. I think I confuse all the algorithms. So hi Daniel. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday. I thought it was Saturday. I never know what day it is, but it is Sunday. It is the Sunday before Mother's Day. Amazing how God always supplies our needs. That's true. Hi, Liv. Liv says, just trying to spread kindness today, and I want to say you're so beautiful and just gorgeous. Liv, your kindness does not go unnoticed. Thank you so much. You know, eh, Liv, you are special because I think it's such a great thing that somebody would come on to a page like mine just to spread kindness and say something nice. We need more people like you in the world, that's for sure. Well, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, so there are no drum circles today that I know of here in Pittsburgh. I mean, there could be, but I'm not going anywhere. It's cold out there. Look at me. I've got two sweaters on. Two. I am so cold. So I've got a beautiful lighthouse here. This is St. George Island in the Panhandle of Florida. That lighthouse. It is not a real back. Well, it's a real background, but it's a background. So this is just a picture. And I am in Pittsburgh. I know it looks like I'm at the beach, and I am personally suspending all belief that I'm not at the beach because I want to go home. But instead, I'm in Pittsburgh, and I will be here for another few weeks. Well, it's not a real I mean, I'm not really at the beach right now, but normally I am. However, right now I'm in Pittsburgh, so I'm just using this as a background because it's so very beautiful. And this is the beach report, and I did take this picture myself. So you always have the craziest scenic real backgrounds. Exactly. So, hey, once in a while, we're going to get a beautiful lighthouse, and that's just the way it goes. Thank you for throwing the Florida warm catwalk. I can't believe how chilly it is up north. And I know it's May, and I think it snowed somewhere yesterday. Um, I used to live in Squirrel Hill. I love the Berg. You gotta love the Berg, I know, but do you love the Berg's weather? I do not. I do not love the weather. Our weather is crappy. Who was better a few weeks ago? Yeah. Good evening, World USA. Yes, this is the lighthouse in the Midwest. Again, we're on the beach report, so this is what we're doing. Why not? And I took this beautiful picture and it is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, John. I appreciate that greatly. But yeah, I took this picture less than a week ago. And normally I've got real backgrounds behind me, but today we're just gonna have to look at a picture. I'm in Florida and it's actually kind of chilly now. Oh man. All right, well, when do we get out the bikini? Well, when we get home, when we get back to bikini weather, which is where I'd like to go. But right now, I have to be up north because I've got a couple projects going on that I'm working on. And this is the way it is. You can take the girl out of Pennsylvania, but sometimes the girl has to go back to Pennsylvania because that's where my people are. So I mean I have people everywhere, but I always have people in Pennsylvania. It's always bikini weather for me. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's not true. If it's cold out, I have to wear a lot of clothes. But thank you anyway. I know, missing the beach like crazy, right? Yeah, people aren't being too rude today, Darla. It's okay. I think everybody's just having a little bit of fun, and it is the merry, merry month of May. Yes, it's a green screen, Lazarus. That's right. Yes, hello, Kenneth. Julia's back. Is that the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse in Daytona Beach? No, Tomcats. It's actually the St. George Lighthouse from St. George. It's in the Panhandle. An amazing island, St. George Island. I'm trying to think. Wait, I'll show you on the map where St. George Island is. Because if you ever have a chance to go to this beach, it is really something special. Okay, so it is right off of Apalachicola. What a name, right? Hi, Dano. Go to Hershey, PA and get some good chocolate. There's no good chocolate in Hershey, Dano. What are you kidding me? But I'm going to go to Hershey anyway because that's where our good friend Jamie Crow lives. So we're going to have to go to Hershey. But good chocolate, doubt it. When they were bought by M&M Mars, the whole place went south. Yes, thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you. Are there good cheesesteaks up there? Hey, that's a good question, Carcam, and I do love a good cheesesteak. And yes, in Philadelphia there should be, and I will go there, so it'll be great. Anyway, here is on the map. Whoops. Okay, so that's St. George Island that you're looking at in that picture. and it's hard for me to show the map on the green screen. It doesn't work that well. Well, maybe if I go like this. Anyway, it's kind of like that little Cape area, um, right on the edge of Florida. Tallahassee is up north. Anyway, it is a beautiful place, and I highly suggest that you go there if you're looking for a very quiet, private beach that not a lot of people know about it. So, Scrabbus. Okay. Anyway, yeah. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? It's Sunday night. It's the week before Mother's Day. And I have been working on a lot of projects. Of course, we just finished this big derby party, which was a lot of busyness, and we had a really good time though. And I saw people I haven't seen literally in decades. And that's the way it is when you go back to your hometown and you just, I saw people walking into this party. Oh my gosh. The sister of my best friend in high school walked in, and I saw her and I was like, no way, I haven't seen her in a long, long time. And I just walked right up to her and just stood in front of her. And all of a sudden she looked at me and she went, Jill? It was cool. It was really fun. Yeah, well, lone wolf, I don't date, so sorry. I'm homeless and I live in my car. Okay, well, yeah, sorry. I don't date anyone, homeless or not. So sorry, it's not the way it goes. It's a small world after all. Hello, Amos. It's a small world after all. Yeah, it was amazing to see this girl and a lot of other people I haven't seen in years. So it is always very interesting to come home to Pittsburgh. And one of the things that always kind of takes me back is that my father was very well known here, so people will often talk about him around me, and I'm not used to that. So, gosh darn it, I'm sure you can find somebody else. Yeah, I'm gonna need dentures someday, but not yet. So, actually, Oakwood, if I really did have dentures, and I can prove that I don't, but if I really did, why would you have to mention it? Do you say that because you want to shame me if I had bad teeth and had to have fake teeth? I really wonder about this. It's very interesting. Um, Everyone in Pittsburgh knows who my father was. Right now we're hanging out as friends, Travis, so we're good, right? Oh, thank you, Amos. Hi, Fred. The weather's horrible, Raccoon. It's cold. I've got two sweaters on at once. Look at me. I'm crazy. So, yeah, you know what? It is not a bad time to mention your dentures, Lone Wolf, because this is something that I do think about. How thank you, Car Cam. I do have beautiful teeth, and I've always had beautiful teeth, and I had to have braces for several years. So I did suffer to get my beautiful teeth, but you're from 84. Oh, 84 lumber. I know it well. Yeah. Did you work for 84? For 84 lumber? That's it. That's a great place. But here's the thing. People try to shame people for having dentures. Now, I don't have dentures, but I have lost three teeth, and one is here, and I don't like that. And I'd like to get a flipper or something because it affects the way that I speak. So I did no, I had braces as a teenager. So it was an appropriate time, but I just think it's interesting how people will talk about other people's teeth. Like, I don't know, it's a way of shaming people. I actually did have a bridge when I was a little girl. When I was 2 years old, I fell down the steps and I lost this tooth. And the dentist said that it was too early for me to lose that tooth. So he gave me a bridge there. So I had a bridge when I was little. And when I was, I think, 7 years old, he said, well, a lot of kids start losing their teeth now. And he popped the bridge out and he handed it to me and he said, here's yours. And ever since then, the teeth, they got fixed and the braces worked and everything, and I was grinding my teeth, so that's why I lost this one. But um, yeah, fell down the steps or fell down the steps. A little boy pushed me down the steps, actually, is what had happened. My mother was horrified. So gotta go brush my tooth, World USA. You always crack me up. Hello, OG Kicks. How you doing? Like everybody's fun on tonight. Do we have freedom of speech on this chat? Well, we do, unless we're rude. So yes, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Try to keep it relevant to the chat and be friendly and kind, and we'll get along great. Can you get me a job at Nickelodeon? I've seen all the cartoons. I can't get you a job anywhere, Scravis, but let's see. How would you get a job at Nickelodeon? Did you want to write the cartoons or what did you want to do? My Nickelodeon days are far behind me. It's been a long, long time. We always had retainers as kids. I know, Stuart, right? And I don't even know what happened to my retainer. I'm super fun. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm glad you're here. If you like fun people, then I am one. Any other favorite foods in your hometown? I don't like food. I hate eating. Like when I eat and then my teeth fall out in my mouth or break apart in my mouth as I'm eating, I hate that the most. But you know what? I have a real bad relationship with food and I feel like I don't like to eat very much. Joe Hardy was the founder of 84 Lumber. He has passed away. His daughter Maggie is running the company very well. She's a great businesswoman. Actually, I know all about this, Bill, because one of my closest friends went to high school with Maggie. And I remember when they first established what's the place called? Oh my gosh. Over in Ligonier. You know what it's called, Bill. Um Dang, I forget. But Bill, help me out. What's it called? Anyway, it is such a great place. I can't remember the name of it. My goodness. Let's try to keep the chat G-rated because there are teenagers and children who watch the Beach Report. So we're playing to that kind of audience and normal people. And thank you, Bill. What's it called? What is Maggie's? Oh, and she's the one I think who actually established the whole place. Um, you're gonna make me look this up. I really sometimes wonder about my memory going. Thank you, Kenneth. And I've written many articles actually about this place. And one thing I will say about the wait, what's it called? Bill. Not Idlewild. No, the place that like Bill said, for 84 Lumber. It starts with a D. I'm looking it up on the map. It's outside of Ligonier. I've written so many articles about it. I've been hosted there many times. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty hood. A neighborly day for a beauty. Could you be mine? Won't you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. Hi, CK. I've always wanted to live in the neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Nemacolin, won't you be my neighbor? Thank you, Bill. Did you have to make me wait so long? Exactly. Nemacolin Woodlands. Oh my God, what a question, President. Get out of here. Won't you be? Won't you be? Please, won't you be my neighbor? All right, let me see if I have any Nemacolin articles here. Nemacolin Woodlands is a really fantastic place to have a little vacation getaway in the middle of Pennsylvania. And Darla, if you have never been to Nemacolin, you gotta go. What are we doing tonight on the live stream? Chris, we're just hanging out tonight. We talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And yeah, everyone's my neighbor in the whole country. Yes, thank you. Yes, starting the block party with Bo. Glory be to Jesus Christ now and forever. Amen. I love it. So, yeah, Darla, I think we might need to have to go to Nemacolin. I'm going to see if I can call up any of the articles I ever wrote about Nemacolin. But they even have a ski slope there. And my children learned to ski at Nemacolin because it's a very small ski slope and easy for kids to learn on. Oh, my hair is crazy, CK. When I'm up north, now we can see how long it is because it has no curl whatsoever. It's totally dependent on the weather, and it's getting really long. Um, we don't care about pronouns here, President, okay? We just talk like normal people and we're just ourselves. We're not trying to be anyone we are not. So if that's what you like, then you can hang out here. And if you want to go talk about wacky stuff, you can do that too somewhere else. Anyway. Hello, Richmond, Virginia. How's Richmond? I almost drove through there, but instead I decided to come up through Kentucky, which was really fun too. And it was interesting to see the Kentucky Derby yesterday after actually driving through Louisville. And I thought about getting a hotel there, and it was like a regular Hampton Inn, which is where I would normally stay, for one night, $1,500. Can you imagine spending more than $1,000 for a hotel room that normally costs about 110 at the most? Isn't that crazy? But Richmond is a cool little city. I don't think I've ever been to Richmond, but my sister used to live in Stanton. They called it Stanton, but it's spelled like Staunton, and that was a really cool little city. I don't know, Scravis, you were okay. Scravis needs to consider different words. All right, well, consider different words, Scravis. Just be respectful. Anyway, yeah, you know where Stanton is? Is Richmond like Stanton? Hey, President, you don't have to be confused. There's two genders, man, woman. I'm a woman. Which gender are you? Do you know? Bill, that was a heck of a horse race yesterday, and I had $4 riding on. So happy. And so happy turned out to be one of the favorites, of course. And when they're one of the favorites, I don't think they ever win. But it was really interesting to see that it was a female jockey who won, or was it the female trainer? Was she a jockey or a trainer? I'm not sure. Okay, President. Thank you for trying to be respectful. The Kentucky Derby is just Amish NASCAR. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is a good one. I'm totally stealing that Amish NASCAR. Hi, Arizona. How's it going, Lovey? You know it, Cody's mom. Oh my gosh. Tender and voluptuous hair would be better and specific to whose conversation. I do have the tender and voluptuous hair, don't I? Oh my. I know, it's really weird how different it is up north, right? So I live in Florida normally, but here I am. I grew up here in Pittsburgh, so I have a lot of stuff I'm doing up here. I'm looking to see if I can find any articles I wrote about Nemacolin woodlands. Hmm. I don't know. I was a journalist here for the better part of 20 years, magazines and newspapers, including the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. The trainer is a female. Thank you, Bill. You have a lot of information. So, yeah, that's so interesting. Did you go to Nemacolin Woodlands a lot, Bill? I think everybody who lives in 84 goes to Nemacolin Woodlands. Um, how do you know I used to be a problem? Where do you get your information from? What kind of problem do you think I was? I don't think I don't think I would say that that's a true thing about me. Let's see, I'm finding, oh wow. Oh, well, this is interesting. So I was looking for an article that I might have written about Nemacolin woodlands, but instead I come across an article that I wrote for the Jewish Chronicle in February of 2005. And actually, here you can see this. No, no, maybe you can't see it unless I hold it like this. Anyway, I can read it to you if you'd like. It's about a synagogue celebrating its 10th anniversary. Are you sending me flowers, we the people? Thank you. That's great. Yes, I do have Cash App, Raccoon, and thank you very much for asking. Um, how do you get to my Cash App? Now that's a good question. And you know what, Raccoon, you just brought up something that I know I need to do, which is put ways to, well, actually, why don't you go to jillbooks.com, which is my website, and buy a book? That's what I wish you would do. Are you too captivated by Jill's beauty? Well, that's a nice thing to say. No, we don't need to talk about uh people. Okay, so I wanted to talk about love, and I did call this show Who Do You Love? But when I talk about love, I used to drive bus with Neil Spence. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, Bill. Yeah, I'm getting all flustered. You're right, we the people. Sometimes the comments are like, whoa, what do I say to this? Because you know what? Here's the thing, guys. I'm a real person and I act like a real person and I talk like a real person and I behave like a real person. So please, I wish you would all treat me like a real person. I would never be a bot. And yes, I know my background is not technically real, but it is a real picture that I took when I was at this beach. Chad, I do not have any pets anymore. I lost my baby dog more than a year ago, so I am done having any pets of my own. However, now I am pet sitter extraordinaire. And I don't know Bob either, Bill. Hey, dinosaur. So, did you see me at Dinosaur World? I hope that you go back and look for that show if you didn't see it on the live because Dinosaur World was very cool. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the love that we all need to have for ourselves. Oh, Bo. Thank you for keeping the chat safe. And a little reminder to everybody again, we do often have teenagers and young people here on this show, and we like to be, you know, good role models for younger people. I used to work with racehorses at the Meadows. John Cigna used to come out there. Okay, now I know that name. And actually, the first time I ever did go to a horse race was at the Meadows. Friends of mine owned a sulky. So, yes, it is always hard. Well, you got to be careful when you're on this chat. Again, there are young people watching, and we are not, here to talk about schmecks or anything like that. Yeah, no, the lighthouse in the background is St. George Island, which is in the panhandle of Florida and very little known. I'd never really heard of St. George Island until I went there and found out it is the most delightful little island with a very, very beautiful beach. He used to fly the plane for KDKA, do the traffic report in the morning. Yes, I remember John Signum very well when I was a little girl growing up here. My father was actually often on KDKA, and he would be interviewed on the afternoon shows with Patrice King Brown. Remember Pittsburgh Today? And I would always be able to get out of class in school because I would tell them, my daddy's on TV, and they'd let me go into the AV room and watch my daddy on TV. So I loved it when my daddy was on TV. I agree with what you said. So many people on YouTube putting out toxic and negative content. It's so true, Chad, and it's just so unnecessary. I think we should all talk to each other like real normal people. So, losing my pet Bill was it devastated me. So, but this is why I am a pet sitter now and not a pet owner. I think that pet ownership today is so difficult on people because it costs so much money to take them to the vets, and the food that they're eating, I think half of it's toxic, honestly. Um it's really hard to be a pet owner. They try to give them vaccines and stuff that may or may not hurt them. You just never know what to do. And sometimes, Jill is very diplomatic and kind. Thank you, Black Cat Love. I appreciate that. And Muffin, she was a beautiful princess. But, I was always worried about her, and I was always worried something would happen to her, and nothing bad ever happened until, she was 16 and I guess old. Maybe it was the bad, I don't know, food. Just, I can't think about why my dog's not here anymore. I just know that they say you get 16 years out of a dog, and that's a lot of time, but it wasn't really enough time for me. Anyway, I was a good puppy mom. I was. And she was my fourth dog. So I had my first dog when I was 6 months old. Here's my line of succession of dogs. Number one was Kelly. Kelly was a white poodle. And I had her, my parents got her when I was 6 months old, and she was like my baby, and I was only a baby. But we grew up together, and she was my very best friend. Neil Spence did the traffic report. I remember that too. Way too many fictitious entities and fictional content on YouTube of late. That's so true. That's the other thing. A lot of times you'll be watching YouTube and you think you're watching a show, and someone's like telling you stuff, and you find out it's an AI or it's a clone. Someone's clone. People are telling me I should clone myself. I could do my shows easier if I cloned myself. No. No, thank you. Look, there's a little bird above my head. Yeah, I don't think it's good. Anyway, black cat found me a few years ago from Deb reporting from her basket. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually, a lot of people found me through Deplorable Deb. That's true. My cat Rue is cuddling next to me. You are so lucky. And talking about love, when I say who do you love, and you have to love yourself, of course, but loving an animal, that's one of the greatest loves. Having a pet. And I think that a lot of times people think of our pets, they're even more important than our family members because they're like right there with you all the time, depend on you for everything. Um, and you depend on them too. So thank you, Jing. Um, I love all of my animals. I don't know what Justin Bieber's mom looks like, so okay. And the cuddles and the purrs, yes. And all the good stuff about having a pet. But the worst thing about having a pet is that they don't live very long. Have you ever done a beach report from Sunset Beach, Cape May, went home on the East Coast? Been a while, but it's a great sunset. So, no, I've actually never been to Cape May, New Jersey. Yeah, I'm a Long Beach Island girl, so yes, I've done my sunsets there, of course, and they can be magnificent over Barnegat Bay. But I do have to go to Cape May one of these days. Well, I don't know why people say cats don't care about their humans. Mine always give me attention. You know what? I think it's a different. Sometimes cats are different. I wouldn't say I owned these cats, but when I lived on the farm with my husband, there was a feral cat colony living on our farm. And I guess you would say that they were our cats, but I didn't touch them. They were they were crazy. It took them like a really long time to warm up to my dog, which they eventually treated my dog and me like we were the princesses of the world. So they raised a flag every night for a fallen vet. You know what, Michael Anthony? They also do that on Siesta Key Beach. There's a place called Patriot Point, and I will take you guys there when I get back down to Sarasota to Siesta Key because I love going to Patriot Point. I think it's so special when a certain area like that takes it upon themselves to raise and lower the flag and play taps every single day. I mean, it's amazing. They do that at Siesta Key. And not just for fallen soldiers, but for everyone. Bill says, I have to get going. I have friends that do live stream and they're coming on soon, so I'll catch you later. Thank you for doing what you do. You're much appreciated. Thank you, and you're much appreciated as well. Did you have farm animals or was it for crops? No, we had farm animals. We raised peacocks and I actually have a feather. Hang on. Or I did have a feather. Oh, there it is. So here's a peacock feather. I'll have to hold it on myself. From one of my peacocks that I raised. I always have peacock feathers with me. My husband was an animal wrangler and an expert actually on birds of prey. He was a falconer. So he's the one that raised the peacocks, but when he was dying, I had to learn how to raise the peacocks. Used to have peacocks too, Sebastian. They are the coolest birds. They're very loud. They are a handful. I just love them, but you're right. They are a handful and they really you get to know them and they're so interesting. They sound like cats. Let me see if I can do my peacock imitation. Meow, meow, meow. That's what the peacock sounded like. What do you think, Sebastian? Did I sound like a peacock? They're very loud. They have blood-curdling screams. I don't know. Quack, quack. Hi, Barbara. Thank you. She says I'm a beautiful lady, classy and smart. I appreciate that. So yes, I love the peacock feathers. I think they're so special and so beautiful. Like, how does God make that? Tell me how. That's amazing. Sebastian says somewhat accurate. It sounded crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, peacocks, they're wild. But if you have anybody comes to your house, anybody's, anything out of the ordinary happens, and the peacocks will sound an alarm and they will let you know. So yeah, they're very beautiful. They're very large. We used to feed our peacocks a mix of chicken feed and cat food. So they loved cat food. I don't know. It seems like we fed the cats the cat food. The chickens, they would eat cat food too sometimes. They always sound like a woman screaming for help. Yeah, they do. They're so funny. Wild geese are super loud as well, but you don't raise them, because they fly away. But our peacocks would nest or roost in the trees every night. They would yell a whole bunch and then they'd fly up to their trees and hang out up there. But they were so beautiful, and they loved my little dog. My dog Muffin would run around with the peacocks. She didn't care. She'd be right next to them. They'd have all their feathers out, and there was Muffin, just so sweet. Anyway, Sebastian says when we adopted ours, I was the one that was tasked with having to run and catch them. It was kind of fun. I never caught a grown peacock, but I did catch a baby peacock. Thank you for reminding me of that because I always wanted to make a video. Well, I did a video of catching the baby peacocks and lots of videos of them because I just love them so much. But there are farm geese, and they are like our dogs. Oh, I didn't know about the farm geese. We never had any farm geese. We had ducks, and they were pretty crazy. I love ducklings. They're the cutest. Hi, Johnny. How you doing? So I wanted to read to you actually something that I did not write. But in talking about loving yourself, oh, you've never seen a baby peacock. Oh, Sebastian, I gotta make that video. They're so cute. And every baby peacock has like this little line on the top of their head. Like the little poofy, not poofy, but it's just like this little kind of little feather thing coming out of the tops of their heads, like little antennas. They're so cute. And they're funny. And the thing that we used to do with our peacocks, actually, the peacocks that we had a recessive gene for being white. When you have white peacocks, they are worth a lot of money. People like to buy them to feature at, like, weddings and things like that. White peacocks are very special. So, but you don't get white peacocks necessarily from white peacocks. You get them from regular looking peacocks, but they have this recessive white gene. So whenever our peacocks would lay eggs, we would always check to see if any of the babies were white. And sometimes they would be white. And if they were, then we would have to separate them and kind of incubate them ourselves because they were always very vulnerable being white. They would kind of more attract the predators. Peacock mommies are very, very good mommies, and they take super good care of their babies for longer than a year after they are hatched. and they're pretty big. Yes, white peacocks are real. Yes, they're not that rare actually. Like I said, it's a recessive gene and it happens a lot. But the thing why you don't see as many white peacocks is because a lot of times they don't live. They get attacked by predators very quickly because they're very visible because they're bright white. But we did have several white peacocks, and all my peacocks had to be relocated when my husband passed away, and they now live on a farm in Citrus. And two of the white peacocks were up there. Those people who got my peacocks, they actually had bought the white peacocks, well, because we were selling our white peacocks. So, unfortunately, though, they never had babies, our white peacocks, that I know of. She would tell me. So, but but white peacocks are indeed very, very beautiful and a real thing. Yes, I'm from Florida, but I am in Pennsylvania. But this is St. George Island. This is St. George's Lighthouse, and it's really beautiful. Um, you're in Ligonier, Darla. You didn't tell me that. You have wild peacocks in Washington State. Yeah, there's wild peacocks everywhere. There's this actual neighborhood in Miami, I think it's called Coral Gables, and it's just full of peacocks. And one of the best things, oh, Vero Beach, I love Vero Beach. My sister actually used to live near there. I have good friends in Vero Beach. And I like your name. I'ma keep it real. That's good. Because I'ma keep it real too. And I was saying this earlier, but the beach report is always about keeping it real. Yes, this is a picture behind me of St. George's Lighthouse. And normally I'm at the real beach, but I'm traveling for this month up north. I'm cold wearing sweaters. And you're not going to get real beach reports unless of course I take a little detour, maybe go to Lake Erie or something. But you know what, I think it's even colder there than it is here. Maybe we can find a beach on the banks of the Allegheny River. If I had a huge yard, I'd like to have my yard full of peacocks and cherry blossom trees. Well, that sounds like a very beautiful yard. But of course, it would be very loud because peacocks are very, very loud and they have big personalities. Bo says, I thought you were just enjoying the show because I noticed you stopped commenting. Oh, who you talking to, Bo? Anyway, welcome to the Beach Report. If you are new here, I am on location this month. I have well, not relocated, but I'm traveling up north for family obligations. And I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I used to write for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for many, many years. And I don't know what, oh, you're talking to Darla. Okay. Anyway, Pittsburgh is my hometown. So when I come here, it's always so much fun and I get to see my old friends and I get to, I'm gonna keep it real, says in my fantasy, I have no neighbors. Well, I know neighbors can be hard. So anyway, I'm gonna get to see my best friend from high school. She's actually coming in for Mother's Day. So it's Mother's Day next week, and I have been writing some stuff about my mom. I am a writer, I am an author and a publisher, and I'm working on a whole like I want to say I'm it's like 4 or 5 books that I've got all working on at once, which is crazy, but sometimes it's just the way it works. Dream and make it happen. Yes, totally. You can make anything happen if you really want to do something badly enough. I truly believe that. I hope you get to feel the baby kick. I'm not gonna feel any baby kick. I'm not near her. Okay. I'm gonna feel the actual baby when the baby gets here. So here's the thing, you're not ready for Mother's Day. I am so excited. This Mother's Day is gonna be the best Mother's Day ever. So for one, my mother's birthday is on the 8th. She would have been 86 years old, and she's in heaven. But I just know that she's super excited too because I'm going to become a grandmother the week after that, or I guess anytime in the next couple of weeks because, yeah, because that's happening. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing Mother's Day for me. And I do talk about the second book that I wrote, which is called Do You Think About Me on My Birthday? So birthdays are, thank you. I'm gonna keep it real. I know, I'm so excited. But this is so important to me because, like I said, my second book, I'm trying to look at there, here it is. Do you think about me on my birthday? I know it's backwards, but anyway, so I was adopted as a baby and I wrote this book, and being adopted and becoming a grandmother is it's such a blessing, but it's also a really, really big deal for someone like me. And I'm so I feel like knowing that not only did I create two people by myself, you know what I mean, gave birth to two people myself, but now another generation is coming into the world. And, for someone who was an unintended pregnancy, it's very validating to now usher in another generation. So it means a lot to me. I know, right? Somebody's darling got rid of the troll. So don't worry, they're on another stream too. That's interesting to that you mentioned that the trolls, I guess, go from stream to stream. So I'm glad that you got rid of them. Just get rid of those trolls. So, yes, I'm not just a journalist, I am also an author. This is my second book. My first book is about the way 9/11 changed our society. And by the way, hello, this year is the 25th anniversary of 9/11. So, you don't like the green screen? Well, there's nothing else to see. There's nothing better than this. I'm literally in a room with a, blank wall behind me. So, I'm gonna keep the green screen up, but thanks for the suggestion. And yes, I am a publisher. Thank you for reminding everybody, Bo. I'm an author, I'm a publisher, I'm a journalist, and I'm the host of the Beach Report, which I've been doing this show for more than 10 years. So you get good at things when you do them for a long time. Thank you for liking the green screen, Sebastian. I just took this picture the other day when I was in beautiful St. George Island, and I like it very much myself. I was just driving around looking at the sights here in this beautiful little beachy town, and then I came to this beautiful lighthouse and I took a picture of it. Hello, Anna. Anna says Mother's Day is tough for me. My oldest daughter, Kelly, forever 23, died on Mother's Day. Oh, Anna, it makes other people uncomfortable when I mention that, so I lay low. I can totally understand that you would. I actually feel like I'm gonna cry, Anna. I didn't I know that you've told me that before, but the reminder is tough. No, I'm not in Florida right now, but when I get back down to Florida, then we'll be on the beach. Thank you, films. I'm glad that you like the green screen. I like it very much too. I didn't get to take a tour of this lighthouse, but I do love to go into lighthouses. You guys might have seen me. I did a tour of the Barnegat Lighthouse that I grew up on Long Beach Island. So of course, I know that lighthouse really, really well. But getting back to Anna's issue, when you have a tragedy happen on a day that's supposed to be a celebration, like Mother's Day, it can make that holiday be impossible for you to bear. And like you said, other people also, maybe don't want to be around because they understand that you're sad and grieving, and um they are celebrating. So I can't imagine what you go through, Anna, but I would like to say this: it might make your grief a little bit easier to bear, if you will. Maybe if you could look at Mother's Day as a kind of a, if not a celebration, but the knowledge that your daughter went to a wonderful, wonderful place and she is with the Lord. So maybe that's a time for you to privately have a moment with your daughter and think of her as a, not so much as a memory, but as somebody who is waiting for you actually in the future. I don't know if that helps, but I hope it does. Because that's how I think about Ray. After losing my husband almost 4 years ago, and I'm no longer grieving him as much as I am looking forward to seeing him again someday in the flesh. But for now, he's kind of my inspiration. He kind of guides me. It's gone from being a really like a sad memory to one of, we can't have a normal, personal relationship anymore, but we still can talk, and there are still moments and times where I just feel like he's with me. Can you read us a random paragraph from your book, Jetty? Yes, I can. That's a great question. I'd be super happy to do that. Yeah, somebody get rid of that curly person. We don't need any trolls. Oh boy. Yeah, and Darla too. Mother's Day is very hard for parents who've lost their children. Um Kind of funny. The chapter I hit is called Lost and Located. Ah, Ricardo's on. Hello, Ricardo. Good to see you. Thank you for calling me wow. That's very nice. All right, so Jenny has asked me to read a random paragraph. So I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna read a random paragraph, okay? Here, watch that. Here, watch. Wait. Okay. All right, it's just a random paragraph out of my book. They made their way towards the front door, weaving through the throngs of suntan surfer dudes and beautiful beach bunnies. There was still a line to get in, and the bouncers were hard at work with their flashlights, looking for the magical summer of 62 and birth dates before that on people's driver's licenses. Okay, so do you know what that's about? Hi, Rikai. My book is called Do You Think About Me on My Birthday? And that is uh that is a scene. Here, I'll read another random paragraph out of my book. I don't know, it's kind of weird to just to read a random paragraph with no context. Anyway, 18, Kathy, Maureen admitted. It was bad, a very difficult time for me. I guess I was just looking for a father figure or something. And then Tom presented this picture perfect vision of us together. We were in college. I was a freshman and he was a senior. And he wanted to get married as soon as he graduated. So after freshman year, I dropped out and got a job, which was the dumbest move I could have made. Things just went downhill from there. Maureen lit another cigarette off the butt she had been smoking and exhaled a steady stream of smoke. That's it. Do you think about me on my birthday? Jimmy Dean, here's who I blame for the war in the Middle East. First of all, I blame the Iranians for always wanting to get rid of other countries and people. That's who I blame for the war. The bad people who have constantly been chanting DEATH to America. So I can answer that question, Bo. It's not hard. Yeah, you're welcome, Chetty. If you want me to read anything else, I can do that. Oh, actually, here, I want to read an article to you. Well, it's not really an article. This is a chapter from a book of that another person wrote. I'm not going to say his name because his book has not been published yet, but I'm going to read part of this chapter to you because I think it's really interesting. This is a book about how to succeed kind of in business. You're welcome. It's called, well, this chapter is called Think of Yourself Less. I love this quote by writer C.S. Lewis. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. The principle embodied in this notion is one that I could have made use of much sooner in my career, had I realized its truth and value. It is now my greatest hope to pass on this wisdom after having learned my lesson the hard way. Here's what happened. I had been promoted to a senior level management role and was expected to produce specific results on a very aggressive deadline. Since I had proven successful in a similar position, I already possessed the technical skills required for the project and could leverage that knowledge in order to speed up the process, which would be crucial in helping me to complete the project quickly and effectively. I had no doubt that I was well positioned to handle the job, which involved bringing one of the internal companies within the multinational firm for which I worked up to speed after entering a new market. I was brought to fix in several broken processes, implement a different technology solution, mentor and coach the team in the business, and find a senior leader. I was given an 80-day deadline. On top of that, the business was relocating from the central United States to Houston, Texas. Implementing the required solution was no small order, and the risk of failure was very high. It was just the type of project I loved. I jumped right in, quickly gaining the confidence of the business and support groups. My knowledge of the space was respected, my technical skills were highly appreciated, and it was clear that I was driven to reach the desired outcome. I felt I was well positioned and would have no problem getting all the support I required. Hi, Doug. The project was declared successfully completed in just 120 days. Under my direction, reworked accounting processes had been put into place, new compliance procedures had been designed and implemented, a state of the art technology solution was live and in production. Training programs tailored to upgrade the skills of support staff to the required level had been designed and delivered, and a senior leader had been hired. And in the bargain, new risk management and profit scorecards were designed, implemented, and fully automated. Now, the CEO of the company stated, "Time to kill the fatted calf." And my yearly bonus was 175% of my base salary. Clearly, I had accomplished more than anyone thought possible. I believed that I was going to be promoted very quickly, possibly to a commercial leadership role within the same internal company, but I was in for a rude awakening. From a solution standpoint, I did deliver exactly what was required of me and I was well compensated for my efforts. Unfortunately, I had no idea that I was under fire for the way I had managed the project, the way I treated people, and my failure to communicate with the key stakeholders. When my boss called me in for a follow up evaluation, I anticipated praise for my performance and a nice pat on the back. I received neither. Almost 2.5 hours later, I left that office wondering whether I would even have a job to come back to the next day. Talk about a lesson in humility. In my drive to achieve certain successes, I neglected to think of myself less to such degree that I thought only of myself, demonstrating little concern for anyone else involved in the effort. I was so focused on what I personally needed to do that I completely ignored the principles of collaboration, stakeholder buy in, and change management. I managed to run roughshod over just about every person involved with the project. I specified demanding timelines and milestones, failed to socialize my timeline with the key stakeholders in the project and obtain their buy in, and I alienated just about every person or department the project touched. The support staff, although now enabled with all the tools required for success, felt that I had bullied them unmercifully, and some of them were at risk of leaving the firm because of my behavior. The information technology group pretty much blacklisted me, and it was literally more than a year before I began to regain their trust. Even my boss lost complete trust in me, which I never fully regained. And when the group relocated to Houston, I was not even considered for a position. The only people who didn't have it out for me were the members of the front office commercial team, because the solutions I had implemented enabled them to triple their growth within months. Here's what I should have done. Identify every key stakeholder in the project. Collaborate proactively with each and achieve their buy-in and support of every phase and deliverable of the project. Identifying the stakeholders should be the simplest part of any project. A stakeholder is anyone who has an interest in the successful outcome of the project, such as users of the new technology, staff who would require training, information technology experts who will help implement the solution, human resources, and the accounting teams. A few actions on my part would have gone a long way towards demonstrating to all of those stakeholders that I was open to collaborating with them. A simple weekly update combined with an attitude that I showed I was interested in understanding their opinions and concerns would have been a good starting point. Then it would have helped me to prove to them that I was incorporating or at least considering their options and concerns before I went off and did whatever I thought was needed. Weekly updates summarizing progress, challenges, and our responses to those challenges is a great way to ensure continued support and buy in. Delivering the right communications at the right times to the right audience shows that a person is acting as a collaborative leader, not a self interested cowboy. I have learned a lot since then. And by changing my approach in the aforementioned ways, I lead through collaboration, as opposed to dragging my stakeholders reluctantly behind me. I've learned that my vision isn't important to anyone until I plant the seeds of that vision with the key stakeholders and encourage them to continue shaping it. The goal is to gain consensus in that vision so that it becomes valued by all, because people will rally around a shared vision. When people internalize a shared vision as their own, they become invested in it and invested in the success that comes from making that vision a reality. Hi, Nicole. I wasn't fired from my job, but my working situation at this innovative and extremely driven company was never the same. Before the debacle, I had been promoted multiple times during my 3 year stint with the company. It felt as though I had a rocket shrapnel. It felt as though I had a rocket strapped to my ass with no attitude limit in sight. But after this project, suddenly found myself struggling just to survive. I didn't fully realize it at the time, but in hindsight, I can say that this was one of the hardest lessons I've ever had to encounter before or since. In fact, I think this was my watershed moment because it was the day that I began to realize the truth about my behavior and knew that it was time to make some major changes. I didn't yet know what they would be, but I knew the changes were desperately needed. Thank you for keeping the chat safe, Darla. I still continued to progress in that company and was even promoted several more times, but the writing was on the wall. I was not seen as a leader. I had already earned the reputation of being a cowboy, only interested in results and clearly just out for myself. When the company eventually decided to exit the business, I started, my position was eliminated. And that was the end of that. I was absolutely crushed. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom in order to bounce back. And that's what happened to me. In the aftermath of this experience, I thought so badly about myself that it was years before my confidence really began to come back. Being truly humble means thinking of yourself less so that you won't have to think less of yourself. It's interesting. I mean, it's a way to succeed in business. And this book that I'm reading that excerpt from is a business book, but it's also a book about kind of how to succeed in life. And it was written by a businessman who worked at a top, I think like a top Fortune 100 company. So I think it's always helpful too that we learn from people who are smarter and more successful than we are. I mean, you don't want to hang out with losers, right? And people like that don't want to hang out with losers too. So I think it's a good idea to hit yourself to a rising star, but to also be somebody who not just learns from a successful person, but helps a successful person to be successful. So we get out. What's annoying, Nicole? You get out of school on May 30th. So I'll probably be traveling for most of the month. I don't know exactly how long, but like always, I fly by the seat of my pants. So I really don't make plans anymore in my life because it seems that God always has a plan for me. And I love that about life. I love to kind of just go with the flow. I do think that it's good to plan things, so I kind of have loose plans, but I am always open to interpretation and changes, and I don't let anything kind of, make me like, oh no, this isn't working or that's changing. I just kind of let it go the way it should and or the way it is, the way it will. So, no, my grandchild has not been born yet. But we're waiting. It could be a couple weeks. It could be tomorrow. So, who knows? That's the way babies are. Jetty says wisdom is worth more than gold because once gold is spent, it's gone. But when you spend your wisdom well, you get the point. I love that. That is such a great way to put it because you're right, Jetty. And I often say things like money isn't real, time is just a construct. And right there, it's true. There are things that are worth so much more than money. And sometimes I look at money as something that almost holds us back. Hi, Wes. Good to see you. Good evening to the most beautiful and precious and sweet young lady in the universe. Oh. It's always nice to hear kindness coming from people. I love that. I love it when people are nice to each other. So I have been working on something that I'm writing about my mom because it's her birthday coming up and it's Mother's Day coming up. Sometimes you need to cry, even if you don't know why or how. Get that good cry. Yeah, because salt water heals everything. And tears are very salty. We do love our salt water, don't we? Okay, so I'm gonna read you this, well, no, I don't know, this isn't really ready, but I'll just read you a few paragraph or just the beginning of it. I might change it while I'm reading it because it's still a work in progress, but I'm working on this about my mother. Um, Everyone in my life has a nickname. My brother was the boy from hell. No, actually, yes, I called him the boy from hell, but his real nickname was Drusen. Don't ask me why. And my sister's nickname was Bobbers. Again, crazy reasons, but yes, called my brother Drusen, my sister Bobbers. Um, can you explain why when you try not to cry, your throat hurts? My students keep asking me why. That's a good question. I don't know. Trying not to cry makes your throat hurt. Does it really? And why try not to cry? Marky Mark's in the house. Hello, Marky Mark. How are you doing? For those of you just coming on, this beautiful picture behind me is St. George Island and the lighthouse. And now I'm in Pittsburgh and the weather's total coldness, grayness. I don't like it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't usually try to hold back my crying. I just wah! No, I don't know. I never thought about that. It's a good question though. How's it going, Marky Mark? Yeah, look up why and report back to us. All right, anyway, my mother's nickname was Hobson, or sometimes just Hob, or well, other times, whenever I would greet her whenever I'd see her. Or she called on the phone. I'd say, "Ho, Hob." Um, have you noticed anything? Like what, Panteras? What are we noticing? I notice everything, and then I notice nothing. Um, my mom, we called her Hobson because of the movie. What was it called? With Dudley Moore. Arthur. Remember the movie Arthur back in the 80s? Well, that movie had a butler in it, and his name was Hobson. And us kids, I don't know what you're talking about, Panteras, just spit it out. Yeah, Arthur. It's the struggle of emotion that your body is attempting to eliminate. Oh, good one, Bo. Bo's got the answer why your throat hurts. It's the struggle of emotion that your body is attempting to eliminate. So yeah, Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli. That's it. That's the movie, Marky Mark. Such a great, great movie. That feeling of the lump in your throat when fighting back tears, often called a globus sensation, is caused, wait, this is interesting, is caused by your autonomic nervous system reacting to emotional stress to prepare for fight or flight. Very interesting. I'm so from the 80s, Kevin. I wish it was still the 80s. Those were the greatest years of my life. Your body forces the glottis, the opening between the vocal cords, to stay wide open for maximum oxygen intake, while your urge to swallow forces it closed. Wow. I guess what I'm trying to ask is if you notice the great noticing of our time. I still don't know what you're talking about, Panteras. But that's interesting. So that's a real thing with the pain. How old was I in the 80s? 1980, I was 15, and by the time it was 1989, I was 24. So, yeah, a lot of stuff happened in those years, man, from 1980 to 1990. Well, my whole life changed in a million different ways. Yes, it does hurt. You're right. The tears end up coming from the tension. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know uh, what the great noticing is, but thank you for bringing that up, Panteras. Hey, Nicole, can you check out what is the great noticing? Is that something? Kevin, you started school in 87. You mean like first grade? I love the 80s. I know, darling. The 80s were our decade. I thought the world was going to be so different. All right, anyway, my mother was Hobson or just Hob. People would call out, Ho Hob, across the room, and she'd light up. Everyone knew her, everyone loved her. She was brilliant. She graduated high school at the age of 15, and she went on to become an English teacher and also a Spanish teacher. Michael says in 1981 he married at 18. We had the best generation. I know we did. I know. Primary. Oh, Kevin, you were 5 years old and you started school. 1987. Wow. Raccoon started school in 1965. That's the year I was born. That's funny. All right, I'm gonna talk about my mom. I also didn't tell you about my other dogs. First was Kelly. She lived until I was 15, so she died in 1980, and that was truly the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life was that dog dying when I was 15. Oh my gosh, shoot, dude, been a long time since I rock and rolled. Yes, I'm a huge, huge Zeppelin fan. Huge. Yes, big time. What about you, Kevin? I know. I want to go back to the 80s. Should we sing an 80s song? Oh my gosh, now I've got the rain song in my head. It's the season of my loving. Anyway, Tex is in the house. Hey, Tex, how you doing? So anyway, I was talking about all my dogs. Like I've got like five different lines of stuff going on here. That 70s show was my gang. You know what? I never saw that 70s show, Michael. Actually, I've never watched it. It wasn't my thing. What are my plans for? I don't have any plans, Nicole. Who knows? I'll do whatever I do. Kevin says, I'm 44. Jimmy Page inspired me to learn the guitar. Oh, Ramble On. What a great song. So you play the guitar. That's awesome. All right, Panteras. Jimmy Page wears lots of costumes. Anyway, all right. Great emojis. Thanks. So anywho, okay, so first we had Kelly. She passed away when I was 15, but before Kelly died, we got a puppy. I think the year before that. And the puppy's name was Sambo. And my parents were very concerned that people would think we were racist because we named the black puppy Sambo. She was a poodle. And so I named her Sambo Elizabeth. I don't know. Then my parents said we had to call her Sam, but I called her Sambo Elizabeth. It was a show, and he did wear costumes. David Bowie was famous for it, and he was bass too. Yeah, that's what they do. Bye, Nicole. See you later. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really care for that show. And Ashton Kutcher, by the way, kind of wonder about that dude. Isn't he one of Diddy's best friends? And didn't a woman he was dating get brutally and didn't he go to a lot of those white parties? I don't know. Not really a fan of Ashton Kutcher. Hi, Jackson. Anyway, I didn't watch a lot of TV after the 80s. In fact, I became a television writer for Nickelodeon. And yeah, I really didn't like the TV, except for if I was writing it, then it was fine. Hyde is in jail. Who Hyde? All right, CK, you taking off? I've been on for a while now. 83 minutes. What? That's a long time. All right. Anyway, so let's see. So the second dog was Sambo Elizabeth. And then I moved to Switzerland in 1990, and I left Sambo Elizabeth behind. She was the family dog, so she stayed with my mom, and she passed away, I guess, 1992, since she was 15 or 16. And I was really sad about that. Of course, I love Sambo Elizabeth, but I had already gotten my dog Bunny. Bunny was actually a wedding present when I moved to Switzerland, and a woman I had met there, and her name was Buffy. Well, like her real name was something else, but anyway, everyone called her Buffy. And I wanted to name the dog Buffy, and she was like, "You're not naming your dog after me." And I was like, "I think that's a great dog name." But anyway, I named her Bunny instead. And it was she was a little black poodle. She looked a lot like Sambo Elizabeth. And it turned out that she actually had some of the same relatives that Sambo had, because she came from an area in Pennsylvania where we got Sam from. So that was pretty crazy. People are making the weirdest comments right now. Oh, I lived in Basel, Switzerland, Kevin. Do you know Switzerland at all? I don't dye my hair. Yeah, I never will again. It's not good for your hair, by the way. Anyway, so then I had Bunny, and she was my little miracle poodle. She was amazing. She taught me Swiss German. I learned I learned to speak to my neighbors in Switzerland because of the dog. So it was pretty interesting. I learned all the dog words from her. Oh, that's a lot. Panteris wants to talk about the story concerning Paul preaching the gospel in Ephesians, causing all the sacred Artemis prostitutes to quit, which made them silversmiths that made idols. Right? I don't really know what you're talking about. Sorry. Um, we're getting lots of, yeah, thanks, Bo. I'm not gonna look at those review messages. Sometimes it's a bit much. So anyway, Bunny was amazing. She was a guard dog. She weighed 8 pounds, but she guarded me. Thank you, Tex. Kevin says I worked for two Swiss companies. I have been there. I stayed in Rapperswil and a few other places. I learned und große Bier danke. I know. Einstange. Did you learn that one? Einstange. That's what you want the beer. But you wanted a bigger one. Einstange is smaller than it. That's a small beer. So that's why you asked for I große beer. That's funny. You say it like a Swiss person. That's hilarious. I love it. So anyway, Bunny saved me in Switzerland, taught me to speak Swiss German. She was great. Because, the thing about the Swiss is they love a well-bred dog. That's why you didn't know Stanga, right, Kevin? Because you wanted the big beers. The Wiesbier, right? What was that called? The Hauptbier. No, Wieshaupt. Oh, the Weizenbier. Weizen. Does that sound right? Ein große Weizenbier, bitte, danke. Swiss left neutrality for the Ukraine war. Oh, the Swiss were never really neutral. Yeah, don't believe that. Swiss just say they're neutral, but they were never neutral, and they are not neutral. They hate everybody. Well, I guess they hate everybody equally, though. They always said Weitze. Yeah. Oh, where were you? It depends on where you were. In Basel, they said Weitze beer. Oh, yeah. Well, Bo, thank you for reporting and hiding. And by the way, anybody who makes gross and disgusting comments on the beach report will be reported and taken off. So, thank you for loving my hair. It's really different here. I'm up north now, and my hair is behaving very strangely. When I'm down south, when I'm in Florida, my hair has a little bit, a really no sound. Hi, David. Let me know if you guys can hear me, because Darla, there's no reason I would not have sound right now. I don't think it was you. I mean, I don't think it's me. I think it's you. Two doesn't have sound right now. Sound is fine. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, that's you. You always do this, Darla. You hit something and then you don't have any sound and then you blame me. Selena girl, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hi, Gretchen. Gretchen. Oh, Gretchen's always been here. Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, that's just you, Darla. It happens. Anyway, a little technical difficulties on ya. Yeah, Darla still has no sound. It's you, Darla. It's not us. Anyway, all right, so Bunny, yeah, it was she was 16 and she was very old, and I had moved back to Switzerland after living in America for almost 10 years, and it was a shame, and I lost her in Switzerland. I never wanted another dog, and then I ran away from Switzerland with my children, and my daughter made me get Muffin. And that's it. That's how it happened. Then I had Muffin, and now I have no dogs, and I will not have any dogs, I guess, until my daughter gets another dog, and then I'll watch that dog. I'm the dog sitter. I'm not the dog owner. I'm the dog sitter. So, anyway, we were talking earlier about Mother's Day is coming up, and I was talking about my mother who passed away in 2013. Yet Darla says it's all good now. You know, it was you the whole time, Darla, right? Anyway, my mom passed away in 2013 of cancer. My dad died of cancer. My husband died of cancer. So I really really hate cancer. But anyway, I'm honoring my mama this week because she would be 86 years old on Friday, and it's Mother's Day coming up, and I'm about to become a grandmother for the first time, and it just seems like a lot. Seems like a very momentous Mother's Day this year. Anyway, I've been writing this thing about my mom for a chapter in my book. And so she was brilliant. Graduated high school at 15, went on to teach English and Spanish. By the time we were growing up, she had stepped away from full-time teaching. Well, actually, she didn't teach while we were growing up. She was a full-time stay-at-home mom. Pinterest, we're not talking about Legos right now. I don't know why you would bring that up. That's really kind of out there. Maybe you are still connected to a distant tower from your shopping. Wait, there's, yeah, that could be. Darla lost the sound from a cell tower change. Anyway, my mom was a teacher. She was an English teacher, which is the perfect job for a mom to have when she's raising a writer. And my sister also became a journalist like me and went to the same college I did. So the English teacher raised two journalists, and I think that's amazing. So hats off to my mom. You know, the one thing about my mom, though, is that she was very overweight, like really obese, like 500 pounds obese. See you later, Michael. Nice hanging out. Night all. Try the veal. Tip your waiter and hit the like button on the way out. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, Darla, it's okay. I was just mentioning when you said you had no sound that this happens to you sometimes and you think there's no sound and you're the only one. So anyway, so I've been writing about this thing about my mom because she was such an interesting lady. And she's the one who taught me how to be a good friend. And my mother had always kept her friends from kindergarten throughout her entire life. If you were friends with my mom, you were friends with her for life. In fact, I was friends with my mom's friends' kids, so I call those second generation friends, and I have quite a few of them. Being a good friend, I think, was one of the most worthy things that my mom ever taught me. I don't know, Panteris. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Mother's Day and our mom. So why don't you tell us what you think about your mom? Did she raise you well? Do you still have her? Is she still alive? Is she still in your life? Some very strange comments coming through. We can hide that one because it's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know. It's sometimes when the comments start getting really outrageous and stupid, I have to say it's time to go. And I'm getting tired, and I've been on for 95 minutes, so I hope you guys have had a wonderful evening. It was nice hanging out with you, and I will see you on tomorrow's beach report. We'll be in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what's happening this week, but I'm definitely going to find some cool things for us to do while I'm up north on baby watch. Because I'm expecting, don't you know? Expecting to be a grandma. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and we'll see you on tomorrow's beach report. It's okay, Bo. I'm going. I'm going. It's late. I gotta say goodnight. Thank you, Black Cat. I'm glad that you were here, and always good to see you, Gretchen. Fahanda, now you come on. You're late. You're late. I missed you. All right, everybody. We'll be on the beach report tomorrow, and I'm hoping to do a morning beach report. Thank you so much, Christine. Look now, all these great people are coming on. So good to see you, Diana. Good night, Kylie. I love saying good night to everyone. This is nice. Anna, my heart goes out to you, and Darla too. I know Mother's Day is a hard time, and thinking of you guys. It's got to be the worst day for anyone who's lost a child. But again, you have an angel. All right, you guys. My mom is in heaven, so I have an angel too on Mother's Day. All right, everybody. I always enjoy seeing you, Darla. I'll see you guys on tomorrow's beach report. So have a good evening. Ciao for now. Me too, Nicole. Good night, everybody.